I am interrupting again with an even bigger trade. Apparently, nighttime is the time. Woj won. Woj won. KD has been traded.
Oh shit!
No, you're smoking.
No,
nah, bro.
Look. KD
Dude,
has been traded
trolling.
to the Phoenix Suns. We do not have the details yet in terms of the
bro,
package.
You're trolling.
But KD,
you're lying.
After talking tonight about it being KD's team, he is going to the Phoenix Suns. He's now a member of the Phoenix Suns, the team that wanted him arguably the most this summer. He's now going there.
Shit.
And instantly the Suns probably become favorites in the West.
Excuse my language, but goddamn.
Yeah, that is wild. There's no time for sleeping out here, man.
Oh, God.
There is no time for sleeping.
Devin, I swear, when you upload this to YouTube, I need you to like cut this part and make this its own video called KD traded live reaction, and this might have to be the first video that goes
100%.
This
is going up. The moment that this is edited and is ready to go, it is going live. Save, and then the total one is following.
Respectfully,
okay, I have the
they're
package.
going to the finals.
The Nets are trading Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns for a package that includes Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, 4 first-round picks, and additional draft compensation, which will likely be additional seconds.
They're going to the finals. Chris Paul, Devin. I know Chris Paul ain't been great, but Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin fucking Durant, and DeAndre Ayton? I know we were low on DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul, but you got Devin Booker. That boy nice in the playoffs. Kevin Durant, that man nice in the play. Like, listen, the whole thing with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn has been that the people around him not healthy for nothing. If I know anything, Devin Booker just missed some time. Dog, Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton should be playing in the playoffs. That's like that's a squad. And listen, I know DeAndre Ayton was kind of feeling some kind of way about the situation. Bro, I don't give a fuck who you are. You are playing with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and the West is wide open. This team is the favorite. Respectfully, you're telling me this team – Mikal Bridges is a great player. Cam Johnson is breaking out. Excellent role player. Bro, we said we feel kind of the same about 1 through 9, and you just added Kevin Durant. You added an MVP level player when we had Devin Booker in MVP talks before we went out. So you got 2 of them together, and I think we've talked about KD for years as a guy who fits in with like whatever team. He can just slide in and do his thing because he's Kevin Durant. And Monty Williams is a good coach. I think he can make it work, integrate it. Dog, especially if they play the buyout market, and kind of shore up some of the edges.
No doubt. Jay Crowder is also going to the Nets as part of the package. So I don't want to just mention the Suns here, just because I think the Nets are actually interested in here too. I don't know if this team rebuilds or if they're just in a retool scenario, because they have a lot of value now. You just got Dorian Finney-Smith. You acquired Royce O'Neal this offseason. You now have acquired Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder. You still have Cam Thomas. You still have Ben Simmons. You still have Spencer Dinwiddie, Seth Curry, Joe Harris. They're either going to have the best assets in terms of rebuild since OKC, or they might just try and hang around and retool, because they have a really, really good defense now. Like, they can field Claxton, Bridges, Cam Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Royce O'Neal. They have potentially the most insane rotation of wing defenders in the league right now. That's wicked.
They also got they got a couple shooters on that team, bro. Like, you can't tell me now that this team is where it's at. I'm not even saying even if they try to stick around, but I'm saying if I'm a team who wants a shooter, I'm picking up the phone and calling them about Curry and Harris now, right now.
Yeah. I think those are the types of guys they could look to move on because they're not winning anytime soon. So a guy like Joe Harris could be moved. Spencer Dinwiddie could be moved again before the deadline's up. Seth Curry could be moved again. And they still have young pieces and they can just hold on to. You keep Cam Thomas, you keep Daron Sharp, you keep Edmund Sumner. You have now Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges. You could even move off of one of those wings if you want, and Royce O'Neal or Dorian Finney-Smith. Maybe Jay Crowder gets flipped again before the deadline. So, man, they're in a great spot. They already had, like, obviously they didn't have a lot of their own first-round picks because they've moved them all, but they had acquired 3 additional first-round picks, and now they just got another 4. So for a team that had given up a lot of draft equity over the last few years to make moves, they now have 7 first-round picks over the next 5 to 6 years. So they're in a really good spot to either retool, rebuild, make some more moves to get some more assets. It's a sad ending to the KD and Kyrie era, but they've done well. And I mean, Devin Booker as a number 2 option is outrageous. That's outrageous.
Look,
That's
guy
like,
who was literally doing a carry job. To
I was about to say it sucks losing your 2 best wing players in Cam and Mikal, but you getting Kevin fucking Durant back to go with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton. Oh man,
is this like a star duo, a big 3 or a big 4? Because I genuinely don't. DeAndre Ayton just came off his best game of the year, 35 and 15, like yesterday, literally like fucking yesterday. This is a guy who just gave you 35. Booker just came back, but with Booker and Paul on the court, it's not like there was nobody else out there. Chris Paul, his stats ain't been the same, but like the fact that Chris Paul is facilitating to 2 of probably the best 5-6 minimum scorers in the league, that's a point guard's dream.
yeah.
And you got DeAndre Ayton in the paint, who, while not as aggressive as we might think, he can still be a Roman for Chris fucking Paul.
Yeah.
That's
wicked. And to speak on that lack of wing depth now, too, for Phoenix, TJ Warren is officially going back to the Suns as part of that as well. So they will get a little bit more wing production outside of KD. And Torrey Craig has been good. So KD, TJ Warren, Torrey Craig, that's fine. And if they need a little bit more play, Ish Wainwright has been solid enough that if he needs to be the 4th guy, that's more than fine. So,
damn. Okay.
That's a wicked team, man.
Okay, James.
James
Jones, man. I see you, boy.
We went from off-season turmoil. Listen, there's a chance this blows up in their face because we know sometimes KD can get the injury bug, be a little bit in and out. Bro.
Hey,
fuck it. They're going to the finals.
Even if it does blow up in their face, I salute them for saying Chris Paul's on his last wheels. Devin Booker's playing the best basketball of his career. Let's try and maximize this shit while we still have a chance. And even if Chris Paul is gone in the offseason, you still got probably some good years of Kevin Durant left, and you got Devin Booker's prime to go. And obviously they still have some type of hope in DeAndre Ayton. So you still got a nice little core there that you can retool, even if this season doesn't pan out for them. But damn, they got KD, bro. They got KD. That's crazy.
I was rooting for the Clippers heavy. I need the Clippers to go on a little losing streak because right now Phoenix is 5, Dallas is 6. I need all my being. Now listen, just to understand the magnitude of this, just to put this into perspective, Phoenix got embarrassed by Dallas in a Game 7 last year. Was not even close. Luka put their franchise to where we thought they would never recover. Went into offseason turmoil, was talking about Chris Paul never be the same player. Now you tell me Kevin Durant and Kyrie had all this stuff go on the court, off the court. Were never able to play together. Kyrie requests out. And you're telling me these 2 teams that already have this crazy beef from last season now have 2. One's a superstar, one's borderline. that are coming to each of these teams to help them compete for a title. If they're on opposite sides of the bracket, this could be a Western Conference Finals from a narrative perspective and from a basketball perspective for the ages.
Yeah. That's
Is
crazy.
this like the prayer answered for us to have a team that we can look at definitively and be like, that's the team to beat? I know we haven't even seen them lace it up, but
I mean,
on paper,
on
This
paper,
is one of the
I
best
think
trade
it has to
deadlines
be.
ever.
It has to be. And like you say, I think most of us were expecting a pretty quiet trade deadline this year, especially comparative to last year. But man, this has already got an argument to be better than last year.
look,
We've already seen a starting caliber center get moved. We've already seen 2 all-star starters get moved. And we're going to see another all-star caliber guy get moved out of Toronto tomorrow, most likely, or a little bit less so if Gary is the one who gets moved. But, I mean, this is a wicked deadline. And like you say about the Suns being the team to beat, we haven't seen them yet. But the fact that they were able to get KD without giving up too much depth, I mean, obviously you lose quality in McHale and Cam Johnson, but you traded away 3 wings, only 2 of which were actually playing basketball for you this year. You get KD and you get TJ Warren, you get 2 wings in replacement. They ain't losing any depth. You got Kevin Durant. I mean, I don't know how this team can't be automatically the favorite to get out of the Western Conference.
Team is
In the words
insane,
of-
bro. They were already 8-2 in their last 10. Just got Devin Booker back and added Kevin Durant.
Crazy.
one of the best scorers of all time. Hey, I love the NBA, man. I love the NBA, bro.
I was literally just saying, oh, this might be a pretty solid roster to build around KD, but I don't think solo stars are going to win a ring. I guess we'll never know.
Devin just dropped
I
the
guess
video
we'll never
earlier
know.
today talking about the Nets are still okay with Kevin Durant.
For real. For real.
Bro.
And they
Hey,
were,
listen.
but hey, apparently they just want all
Here's-
defense now. So.
Here's what I got to say. Demetrius Ja Morant, are you still good in the West?
Yo,
Oh, man.
hey,
That OG trade might want to happen tomorrow, man.
might want to happen tomorrow.
I will say, as a Raptors fan, having the KD trade out of the way is going to make everyone a hell of a lot more interested in OG because that's just out of the way. So, selfishly, as a Raptors fan, independent of KD being in Phoenix is good news. It's very good news.
So you telling me the Celtics could have got KD just by throwing in some picks and some wings? We got guys.
Bro, Tyrik, that
I don't think
posted
Grant
that
Williams and
Squidward
Sam
with
Hauser
the
and Peyton
Celtics.
Pritchard getting the job done.
The Squidward Celtic pointing
Celtic.
picture is literally
Comedy.
that's one of my favorite things I've seen recently.
Hey, I'm about to spam it tomorrow. Every time I see rumors, spamming that picture.
So a quick update to that first round picks discussion we were having earlier. It'll now be Utah, OKC, the third team I'm blanking on, and now the Nets that'll control the drafts for the next few years.
Spurs.
Spurs being the other team.
What?
Hey, shout out
Crazy.
to Brooklyn though. Shout out to Brooklyn.
This is like reverse Brooklyning, dude. Brooklyn has always been
is.
like, we
It
cashing
is.
in
Good to see.
everything, we get in the aging stars, and we just gonna hold on and compete. Brooklyn just said, I guess one of them requested a trade, and Kevin Durant probably. There were conversations in the front office about the future of the franchise, so maybe it was an unofficial trade with Crest. I'm sure there was like dialogue there, but regardless, they cashed in at 2 stars who's, let's be real, I don't think their value is going to get higher than it is now. So I think they moved on at the right time and really, really put themselves in a solid position. They saw a guy just drop 40 in 3 straight games. Will it be a Linsanity run? We don't know, but there's hope. There is role players. There is so much they can sell. It's almost like they just did what Utah just did. But Utah, like Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are probably a tier below KD and Kyrie. But they took their 2 stars and just traded that for just a shit ton of guys and picks. And now there's somebody – we didn't think Lowry was going to be the guy to pop off. We were like, oh, now Colin Sexton's going to go crazy. And people are thinking, oh, Cam Johnson's season, or not Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas season. But, like, maybe Mikal Bridges becomes an all-star next year. Because this is a
He
spot.
had a nice jump this year, for real.
A spot in the East is now open. He could. Brooklyn, there's a lot of guys there. They might win some games. I mean, I don't know how many people here survived the offseason, but, like, maybe Mikal Bridges is here. He makes a jump, and then he's like their Lowry pretty much, and it becomes a really similar situation.
Yeah, Mikal's definitely got a big opportunity for a jump. I think Cam Johnson's got a really good opportunity for a big jump as well. I think he's still got a lot more untapped potential he can get. I mean, he's only been taking about 9-10 shots a night in Phoenix. That's probably about to jump up to 14-15 in Brooklyn. So that's going to be a fun development to see. But like you say, they just have so many options. They have so much flexibility now from draft capital to the player movement, whether they want to retool, whether they want to fully tank. But like you alluded to, Tyrik, kudos to Brooklyn. They've committed to a rebuild, which was probably the best decision long-term for them. And it's just not a typical decision to see from this organization. So it's nice to see them commit to that once Kyrie left. And as you alluded to earlier, Gabe, with being unsure whether KD wanted out or not, the reports do indicate that KD wanted to move specifically to the Suns. And so the Brooklyn front office did ensure that happened. And the picks that are heading the other way are officially unprotected first in 2023, 25, 27, and 29. And there's also a pick swap in there as well.
If you win a championship, fuck them picks.
100%.
Respectfully. Same thing
100%.
with the same thing people are saying about the Lakers right now. AD trade, you gave up so much, and while they look good now, it's turmoil for so long. They got a title out of it. That's the end goal. The Raptors, they're kind of stuck in just being mid for like the past while, but they made the moves they made. They got Kawhi, and it was a rental, and he left for nothing, but they got a ring. It's like, if these trades get you a ring, that's a win. Like, if Phoenix wins a ring this year, and then Kevin Durant in like a year and a half moves on, Chris Paul retires, DeAndre Ayton still ends up unhappy, and then all of a sudden Devin Booker's like, yeah, nah, I can't go through another rebuild with this franchise. And all of a sudden you're nowhere with no picks in 2024. Who cares?
But then you got Devin Booker. to trade and get some picks back in. So they'll be fine. They'll be all right. But and this is a franchise that don't even draft good anyways. They're not the best drafted franchise anyway. So forget them picks. You got Kevin Durant, who's still at this time probably a top 5-6 player in the world. Whoever wants to slice it up. I know Dev might have him a little lower, but that's neither here nor there. Got Kevin Durant. Man, and that's crazy. Last trade deadline, we saw basically 4 All-Stars get moved, and now we've seen 2 superstars get moved. This trade deadline alone, that's insane, bro.
Your star player was like bordering MVP talks with how hard he was carrying the franchise to a 1 seed, and you just brought in probably at a minimum a top 6 player on earth. That, like, you can't make that up. The last big point I kind of want to mention with this is the fact that you just said Kevin Durant made the indication that he wanted to go to Phoenix, and Brooklyn ensured that. I do think that's interesting because Kyrie indicated his preferred destination was the Lakers, and they ensured that didn't happen.
I think one of the major differences, other than the kind of rift that Kyrie had with Josiah and everything, Kevin Durant has a long-term deal. Kyrie was an unrestricted free agent this summer. I think that's a little bit of a difference. When that's the case, if I'm a front office person, I'm trading you wherever. I don't care. I'm trading you wherever I feel like I'm getting the best value. KD kind of makes sense, long-term guy. And that's the team that, like, Phoenix wanted Kevin Durant in the summertime. The Nets asking price was just way too high. And look what happens when you play the long game sometimes, man. Sometimes you get blessed, and they got blessed here.
Yeah, KD's back home in the West, and Kyrie's in the West for the first time, man. It's real interesting. It feels weird still to think about, like, Kyrie in a Dallas Mavericks jersey. Something about it is just like
he looked natural tonight. and he had the number 2 back on. I'm like, this is the Kyrie I know. This is the Kyrie I love.
24 points in his debut, man. Luka looks like Luka didn't play the game, but
No, he's still out.
I mean, that's gonna be a big night. Whenever they're on together, if they can flex that game into national TV, it should 1,000% be there. But
Also, Shams will not let us sleep, man. That's crazy. Just breaking trades.
March
no
5th.
doubt,
Keep
man. I am
your
not
eyes on
sleeping.
March 5th.
There's just
March-
no shot.
March 5th, the Suns go into Dallas. I think
That's
gonna
already a low key beef too.
That's what I said earlier with like what
Yeah.
happened at the end of last year, and now you have these 2-star players that were teammates. It like folded, and now that could be a playoff series, and it's like that could really be special.
Last question I really have. Do you guys think other teams will start kind of, I don't want to say panicking, but feel like the sense of urgency to make moves in the Western Conference?
Definitely.
Like
Denver's making the Bones move. I don't know what
Golden-
they did.
Golden
They're
State.
making the Bones move.
Golden
They just
State-
like forces
yeah.
their hand.
Yeah, Golden State definitely should be looking to make a move. I don't think there's a world now where the Grizzlies don't make a move before the deadline. Whether that's OG or something smaller remains to be seen, but there's definitely a Danny Green and something package that's getting entertained heavily tomorrow. The Clippers are going to be heavily looking to make a move. Wouldn't be shocked to see the Pels look to make a move either. They just have so many assets. So I think there's definitely a lot of teams in the West now that are making sure that they have a lot of reason to stay competitive, and a lot of that's going to mean really gunning for guys at the deadline tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there's a world where like Sacramento and the Pelicans maybe stay a little bit more put. Just Pelicans are still a little bit younger, and they might just say, okay, like this KD thing might be super short term, and then like we'll be up next. If in Sacramento, this is like their first year kind of like breaking out, so I don't expect them to really do anything crazy. The Clippers is an interesting one, but I think their biggest deal right now might be like the Russ thing. So like that might be kind of their direction, getting a point guard like that. But it's like discount the Kings, the other top 4 or 5. The Mavericks and Suns just bought in heavy. So you're thinking, yeah, if you're the Grizzlies and the Nuggets, you're doing what you can to be at your best because you're 1 and 2 and 4 and 5 just they're ready to go, for lack of a better term. Like the Mavericks were in the Western Conference Finals last year and subbed out Dorian Finney-Smith and Jalen Brunson for Christian Wood and Kyrie Irving, maybe more beyond that. And then we just went on about what the Suns just did. So it's like, yeah, the Grizzlies, they gotta get somebody. I don't know who it's gonna be. Really solid team. I think their play style is a little bit different to where I don't think that's cashing in for a star. But who knows, man? Who knows? Maybe they make Zaire and Dylan Brooks for OG is their.
If that happens, I need to be a GM. Come on now. I'll do that.
OG is one of the bigger names left at this point, and that's like them getting a nice wing to. I mean, he's not going to stop Kevin Durant, but in that series, is that the worst matchup that I'd want?
I mean, ain't nobody really stopping KD except for what the Celtics did last year, but that's the best you can do on Kevin Durant. Just make it super, super difficult for him. Like, if he's going to get 35, it's going to be on 35 shots. That's how you got to guard Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And, like, the Grizzlies got guys, but it's like if they cashed in like that for an OG, it's like, obviously the guys are going to get their shots off, but, like, I don't feel terrible with, like, I mean, Ja and Chris Paul, like, I don't think Chris Paul's production is going to be insane. So it's like, whatever. But then, like, I don't feel terrible with Desmond Bane on Booker, OG on Durant, like, Jaren down low somewhere messing around with Ayton. I mean, Adams is going to be on the court too, so a little bit of discrepancy there. But, like,
I think matchups are going to be so important in the Western Conference this year, man. I
really don't hate those matchups. If they cashed in for an OG, then even though we talked about the Suns having some depth, like the Grizzlies would still have better depth in that case than them. So that would make it like if they cashed in for OG, I think I'm still probably picking the Suns, but I think that makes it a real interesting series.
Yeah, a lot of times when it comes to series like that too, it's like playoffs are so important. Like who has the guys that down the stretch can get you good shots time after time. The Suns essentially have two guys that can get you good shots by themselves, and Chris Paul can get good shots for others in the playoffs too. So that's going to be tough to beat for anybody just on paper if healthy, because it's rare to get two guys that can do that. But then you got the added value of Chris Paul who can take over games down the stretch in the postseason. Makes it tough. I just hope defensively they're still good, because defensively, as long as Mikal Bridges was on the court, they were still really good. I hope that doesn't fall off too much without him. I don't think it will, but maybe having the offensive firepower, even if you fall off a little bit, it'll make up for it.
Yeah, they might not be like a sure lock top 5 defense anymore, but they're probably still a top 10 defense. I mean, DA's solid on that end. Chris Paul's still good on that end. Booker's solid on that end. KD's a good defender. I don't think they'll be that elite of the elite anymore, but they'll still be a good defensive team, I would imagine.
With good coaching, too. I don't want to let that go by the wayside.
I'm excited, man. I'm excited.
Second half of the season is still ramping up. Like, it was like we were watching a whole lot of parody, a whole lot of, like, we really have no idea. Now, I still am not sure. But, like, I want to see – oh, wait a second. The standings just updated, and now the Mavericks and the Suns are 4 and 5. I think
that probably won't last too long.
Still, let that hold. Please, let that hold.
Next episode, we might just have to rank, like, I don't know, like our contenders, like put them in like tiers. Yeah. Because there's still so much to be answered for. So much, man. Like, even like out east, like Boston still looks like the best team. But I don't think
Milwaukee been playing really good.
Philly's
been playing good.
Philly's been good for the most part. I think Philly has a Boston Celtics problem. I don't think that they would be able to beat the Celtics in the playoff series.
No, I don't think so either. I don't think so.
I think they could probably
really be the greatest trade
compete with Milwaukee, but
yeah, we're definitely going to get to a point in a year or two where we are just going to be so disappointed by the trade deadline because we've been so spoiled now this year and last year.
Really, the year before too was pretty when the Magic had that fire sale.
Yeah, that was a pretty good year too.
Size moves. Yeah,
it's just like Tyrese and Sabonis was a big deal, but KD and Kyrie at the trade.
I mean, James Harden got moved last year too.
Yeah,
for Ben Simmons, which was big at the time. But you can't top 2 superstars getting moved.
And then, like, you know, he's not what he used to be, but like the way the Russ narrative has been such a big thing in LA is like
anytime the Lakers make a move is big news.
But like that trade is it reminds me on a different level because the Russ thing was so big, but like, and we know the team ended up being like terrible, but when the Cavs completely rebuilt the roster at the 2018 trade deadline, it's like the Lakers, like that team is so different than what it was like before. I don't know. I don't think it's as drastic, but it kind of gave me similar vibes where it's like that wasn't like a superstar trade, but it's like that was a big deal because this team kind of changed so much.
Definitely.
What a crazy night, man.
I am genuinely like, thank the Lord for Tyrik, because if we would have recorded this last night instead of saving this for like when we did.
Great timing. Just as we were about to get to the end of the discussions.
Hey, shout out to my migraines for us having to be up early today.
For real, man.
We were literally talking about what the Trailblazers, and then you said breaking even bigger trade, and I'm like,
I'm thinking,
bigger trade. I'm like bigger trade than Jakob Poeltl. I'm like, would Toronto just make their next move right away? And you're like, Kevin Durant, and I'm like, what?
This man thought I was trolling him.
I dead ass. I was like, he's joking.
I was looking for the Woj notification until I had to go find it. Wow, oh, shit. It's real.
I cannot.
Crazy,
Can
man.
you for real just
I
uploaded a
had to
video?
scramble to
3
get a little
minutes ago.
graphic made.
Yeah.
My goodness. Jeez.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Well,
The fact
I
that
gotta
they got
rewatch and see my
TJ is
facial
cool
hair.
though. Underrated getting TJ out of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Considering they had to give up their 2 starting wings, that's a good piece to get back.
And for a team that has lacked shot creation outside of Devin Booker, pretty good. Pretty good.
Kyrie
Yeah.
Irving reacts to the Kevin Durant trade. Quote, I'm just glad he got out of there. Mark Jackson's burner. Everyone needs to apologize to James Harden with all due respect. Damn,
Facts.
Ben Simmons really went from playing with Joel Embiid and Jimmy Butler to playing with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving
To playing with Cam Thomas and Nick
to
Claxton.
playing with Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, and Mikal Bridges.
Ben Simmons might be on the move, man.
It might be better for him. It might be
Ben
better.
Simmons could be on the move. Who knows?
He could be. I don't know. Here's the thing: is
He has no trade value.
he doesn't. But honestly, at this point in time, even though it's crazy because we're talking about a guy who's been as good as Ben Simmons, there's value in them just getting off of his salary for expirings and just having the flexibility of not having his contract for the next 2 years. There is legitimate value in that because they have the pieces and they have the market, as we've seen before, that they can get a free agent. They have the complementary pieces that a star might want to sign to. So there's a legitimate argument that they need to get cap space immediately to go and get that. Now, will that happen? Probably not, because they have to move a lot of guys for that to happen, but they have that flexibility. So there's the options, but they'd have to move Simmons and Dinwiddie and Joe Harris. They'd have to move a lot of guys.
I don't want Joe Harris, but if Seth Curry's available, he can come to Boston.
Dude, I think this team is probably still a 500 team. I think like Brooklyn has 32 wins right now. They just got to win 9 games.
You know what I was going to say earlier? When I've been watching them the last few games, they remind me of that Nets team that D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie were on. But
Yeah.
the playoffs, they had that same energy. So,
Yeah,
you know, I like it.
I wouldn't be surprised at all to see them in the play-in, no doubt. I mean, they still got a 6-7 game gap to still be in the play-in anyway, so they got a pretty big buffer. But even though the offense might struggle a bit, this is a good defensive team. Like, borderline could be a top 5 defense now. I was talking about top 10 defense a couple hours ago with KD, but you bring in Mikal Bridges now, man, that's a borderline top 5 defense.
Before
Good
the season, we
defense,
was
and they
like,
still-
are they even top 15 defensively?
Yeah.
They still play Orlando twice. They still play the Rockets twice, and they play the Hornets. Like, that's 5 games against bottom feeders. Get at least like
Could be wins.
4 type upsets, maybe not even upsets. Some like they could pull out wins against Utah, against Atlanta. They play the Pistons too. So that's like 6 against bottom feeders. Well, you can't win 3 games besides that. Like, I think this team goes 500, and right now 500 in the East is the 8 seed. They'd be better than Atlanta is right now.
Yeah, there's probably even a world where they avoid the play-in. I don't know if that happens, but
It's possible.
I think it's a possibility. I think it's
Maybe Cam
definitely a
Thomas keeps
possibility.
this up.
I mean, that's the thing, man. If Cam Thomas keeps balling, if Spencer Dinwiddie plays some good ball, you got
Sumner,
Mikal Bridges and Cam
Claxton.
Johnson to take a step, and you have a good defense. I mean, it's not
That's
a
a good
great
team.
team, but like
a
that's
good
solid. That's a solid team if they're going to be as good as defensively as they should be.
That sounds like a team I'm going to enjoy watching if they keep every piece that they have right now.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Brooklyn
It's not.
could go
It's not going to be the flashy or talked about part of this trade, but that definitely could be a very fun team to watch for the rest of the season.
I like it.
If they went 500 for the rest of the season, they'd be a 46 win team. And I just don't see the Knicks getting above like 45. So if Brooklyn can finish this season 500, they avoid the play-in to me.
Yeah,
Possible, man.
probably.
It's crazy. 46 wins is like a lot.
It's
not
like
that much in the East this year.
Because I don't know if the Knicks or the Hawks are going to go on some crazy run. I think the Heat are kind of just where they're at. Only team that could go on a run is like if Toronto like somehow buys into winning, which they might because they just got Podol, then they might jump. Because right now the Raptors won 3 in a row, have some momentum, only 4 games below 500. And now they have a good defensive big man. Like with the talent they have, I could see the Raptors because they went on a second half run last year. I'm pretty sure that's how they ended up as a 5 seed. Like they didn't look good for a lot of the season, from what I remember.
Yeah. Humor me this for a second. What do we think? Completely hypothetical. If Ben Simmons goes to the Spurs for, say, a package of Doug McDermott, Josh Richardson, Zach Collins, and like a pick.
I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it. Go see the shot doctor, man, in San Antonio. I don't hate it.
He could fill in those Kata Bates Diop minutes. Respected Buckeye legend, but
I mean they got Sohan too.
Yeah.
I don't hate it though. Take a flyer. Why not? If somebody can fix Ben Simmons, it would be the Spurs.
And for a team that's got a bunch of firsts too, I don't mind it.
Yeah, I don't hate it at all, man. Why not?
And that's an easy way for the Nets to get off the money too. Doug's under contract next year, but Richardson's an expiring. Zach Collins is non-guaranteed. Unlikely, but maybe.
The indication I'm getting from Brooklyn is that it seems like they just kind of want to send everybody to the West. So I think, if Ben Simmons went anywhere, I wouldn't rule the Spurs out.
Definitely possible. Man, what a wild trade deadline.
Can't believe
all this and the Warriors have managed talk of them finally getting off of that trio of young guys, any of them. They've been able to duck it for even longer, man.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of 3 Point Weekly. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe to the channel for more NBA content, and we'll see you guys in the next one.